got some more Joe Budden news, and this is becoming a soap opera, okay? Like, hands through the time, these are the days of our lives as the Joe Budden world turns. And this is coming from Maul. Maul finally discussed what's been transpiring with the Joe Budden show, about Joe Budden, about Rory. And he's basically been on social media. He's been on Twitter. And I think he done a few posts on Instagram. And he's basically keeping quiet right now. But he also said that he will talk about this at a later time. Okay. And he's pretty much been on the same type of path as Rory. Rory has pretty much said the same, has echoed those same statements. And basically he's been going back and forth, particularly on Twitter, talking about the reason why he's not returning to the Joe Budden show. It's simple. He basically called Joe Budden an habitual liar. Okay? Well, he just called him a liar, an habitual line stepper. And, you know, a lot of people now, Rosenberg said on their radio show yesterday that he has an inside source. And you have to really, you have to be really careful to take all the information that Rosenberg is saying, because he may not have an inside source. He may be guesstimating, all right? And his inside source said that Joe Budden, he embellished a lot of stuff that he was saying on the recent podcast, on the recent episode. And look, Joe Budden can embellish a little bit. Joe Budden is, yes, a line stepper, okay? But I'm gonna tell you guys, whenever Rory and Maul get together, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if they're gonna do a podcast. They may just create a YouTube channel. They may create a Patreon account, and then they'll tell their side of the story, okay? But you have to take everything Rory and Maul and Joe Budden says with a grain of salt. And like I have always stated on every single video, Rory, Maul, as well as Joe Budden handled this the wrong way. Let me repeat that, because a lot of people seems like I have favoritism towards Joe Budden. I have favoritism towards Rory or Maul or both of them. Look, all three of these individuals handled this situation the wrong way. Now, this video is more mainly towards Maul. It's quite obvious, particularly when you get the information from Rory and what you get from Joe Budden. Clearly, it has to do with the contract. And I always tell people this, and we're all human. We have all done this in our lives, okay? So don't sugarcoat it. Don't come in the comment section saying that you haven't. We all have done this at a younger age, or maybe an older age, or maybe in your 30s or 40s or whatever. We all have signed something and we fully don't understand it, okay? We have all signed something and didn't necessarily read the whole thing, okay? And it really doesn't matter if it's a contract or a speeding ticket or a loan, a car loan, whatever the case may be. We have all once or twice. Some people learn on their first mistake of doing it, and then they don't do it anymore. Other people, it takes a while for them to figure out that you have to read what you sign, because your signature is valuable, okay? Your signature is binding, okay? If you sign something, you have to go along whatever the contract is, or whatever the speeding ticket is. I remember Don King in his bio, he would get boxers to sign a blank sheet of paper, and then he would draw up the contract because they already done signed to it, okay? And that's what got Mike Tyson in his early stages financially in a situation, as well as other boxers. I have heard a lot of stories of people signing something and they didn't even read the contract. They didn't even read the ticket or the loan or whatever. You know, there's been times where, I have gotten speeding tickets and I did not sign it. Okay, I did not sign the speeding ticket. I want to have my day in court. Okay, particularly running a stop sign or running a light, you want to have your day in court. Okay, and then you come with your evidence, you come with your opinion, you see whether or not the judge is going to favor towards you or the officer. Okay, don't sign something, because when you sign, you're pretty much saying you're okay with this. You're cool with this. You are aware and you understand this. Okay. And to me, that's what happened in this situation. I felt like Rory and Mal just blindly signed the contracts, and they were just in the wrong frame of mind, thinking, well, Joe Budden is our friend. He's not going to, he's not going to put any language in there that's going to hurt us, or that's going to hurt us. Okay. Cause we're all friends. And that's why I said in my other videos, you can't use emotion as the main reason why you co-signing to something or why you sign a contract. You have to be well aware of your contract. That's why it's in Mal and Rory's favor to hire an agent or a manager that's going to say, you know what, let's get the lawyers. Because I guarantee you, when Joe Budden was drumming up these contracts, he had lawyers present. Okay, Joe's got a army of lawyers present, looking at it, rechecking it, seeing if, all his bullet points are going to favor him in this contract. And unfortunately, Rory and Mal, you don't have nobody to blame but yourself. You signed the contract, okay? So you're bound to this contract. Now, I'm going to tell you what the majority of people do. When the majority of people sign bad contracts, okay, you know what they do? They go ahead and play along with the contract unless there's an out or an opening in the contract where they could be free of the contract, and then they renegotiate, or just wait until the contract ends and then they renegotiate. This is a clear, classic example of not knowing your worth, your net worth, and just signing your John Hancock to anything. Okay? And yeah, Mal saying it's not as complex as what Joe is illustrating, well, particularly on his recent episode. It's just really simple. Yeah, it's simple because you guys did not read your contract. Okay, you guys thought that Joe, you wasn't going to get hoodwinked. You wasn't going to get bamboozled. That's why you have to have lawyers, and that's why I always stated, and even Ebro in the morning stated this. Lovely T done stated this. Tons of people that are talking about this topic stated that you can't mix friendship in business. You can't do business with your friends and family, because you're going to always run into something like this, okay? Because your emotions are going to be tied up, your beliefs are going to be tied up, and you're going to go by your emotions and your beliefs on doing business with someone instead of just reading what you're going to sign and understanding what you're going to get out of this. Okay. And two is, I feel like another reason why these guys just blindly signed these contracts, because they knew they didn't have to pay. They didn't have to put up any money. Okay. They didn't have to put up studio time, finding a studio. They didn't have to put up with labor, hiring the labor, finding the labor, the mixers, all that stuff, the whole package, okay? Renting arenas and things of that nature. They didn't have to worry about that. Joe Budden was going to pay for all that transportation, all that jazz, health insurance, all that jazz, okay? And they didn't have to worry about that stuff. All they got to do is just come in, film their episodes, get paid, and move on with their lives, okay? It was a lifestyle choice for these guys. These guys didn't want, and I always stated this in all of my videos. I felt like, and I got the impression that Rory and Mal really wasn't down 24/7 with the podcast life. They didn't want to put in the work to do the podcast life. Mal has always stated this on Twitter, that he's not a podcast type of person. All right. Rory has and you can tell from a lot of businesses Rory has been involved in, is he never came from a place of he created something of his own. He always joined something after it was proven to be successful, okay? That it was proven to be solid, okay? Rory has never came from the perspective of building something from the ground up and managing it and watching it develop and watching it grow, taking the good and the bad with that decision, okay? And I felt like, after, checking out the articles and checking out what Mal and Rory have said, I get the impression that they were okay with the contract because they didn't have to put a whole lot of work to make the podcast go. Okay. They just wanted to do the podcast, have fun, kick it. All right. And go on with their day, go on with their lives. Okay. And then when they saw this thing really blow up, particularly, and I kept telling people, the Spotify deal, the Spotify episode, and all the episodes after that Spotify of Joe Budden no longer want to work for Spotify, that's when you started seeing cracks in the armor. If Joe Budden would have accepted the Spotify deal, there would be no problems. They would still be doing the Joe Budden podcast. Because guess what? Rory and Mal would be making more money, okay, from that deal, okay? Joe Budden is already rich. He's already wealthy, okay? That type of money Joe Budden was going to sign to with Spotify, it's not a lot of money. It's not a lot of beans and francs for Joe Budden, okay? It's a lot of money for Rory and Mal, but it's not a lot of money for Joe Budden. And if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense to Joe Budden. That's why Joe Budden felt like, you know what, I'm going the independent route and sponsor with Cash App and Patreon. And I'm just going to do it the independent route. And I'm going to do it. And I guarantee you, there's a Spotify deal. There's a Spotify number in the making, and I guarantee you, he's going to re-up back to Spotify, and he's going to make money by signing up to Spotify, being an exclusive partner or whatever the case may be. All right? And on Rory and Mal's side, I feel like they're going to go ahead and do their own thing, which they should have been doing their own thing 6 years ago. Why do you wait until Rory gets fired? Mal choose Rory over Joe Budden, even though he has more years and more experience with Joe Budden. He knows Joe Budden more than Rory. Okay, but they're gonna link up. They're gonna do their podcast. And they're going to do numbers. That first episode, when they tell their side of the story, they're going to do a lot of numbers, okay? Because we're all going to be watching. We're all going to be listening. We're all going to listen to their side of the story. And then once we get their side of the story, then us as content creators, okay, we're going to create the content, all right? We're going to get the views from it, okay? And we're going to make a little ching-ching, a little coins off of it, okay? And then life goes on, okay? After that second, third, fourth, fifth episode, those other episodes are not going to do the same numbers as that first episode. And guess what? We as fans, we're fickle. We have no loyalty, okay? We don't care, all right? We just want to be entertained, okay? You got people that are fans of certain content providers. They don't even subscribe to them. They don't hit the notification bell. They don't hit the like button. They just, watch or listen to what at that particular point they want to listen to, and then they move on. we as fans, we don't support content providers, okay? What we support is entertainment. And if this content provider is not entertaining us, we just search and hop around. All we do is search for titles, okay? We don't search for content providers. We just search for news, all right? And whoever is doing the news, we're going to watch that segment, and then we're going to move on, okay? Because fans are fickle. We have proven this time and time again. I know people are going to be in the comment section going to say this, that, and the third, talking about, oh, they're loyal, they supportive, they support who they want to support. But even if you subscribe to a content provider, you probably don't watch 90% of their content, okay? You only watch what you want to watch, okay? And then you move on, all right? And an example of this is $1 million worth of game when Wallow and Gilly the Kid had issues with Devin. Okay, I think his name Devin the Dude. And they had issues, and Gilly the Kid just fired him. And everybody's talking about, oh man, Gilly the Kid's wrong. He shouldn't do him like that. Oh, how dare he? He was getting all this backlash, all of this hate. Everybody was on Devin the Dude's side, okay? Devin the Dude announced that he was going to do his own thing. He was going to have his own podcast. And that first episode, it hit. Okay, it hit. Okay, it was like a star in the making. But then after those next couple of episodes, it didn't even hit the same. It didn't even feel the same. The only episodes Devin the Dude, and you can go check out the page. You don't have to take it from me. The biggest episodes Devin the Dude had was his first episode, and when he went into detail about him and Gilly the Kid. I think he called Gilly the Kid, he called him a sucker. I'm not going to say exactly what he called Gilly the Kid, but that episode hit. But when you look at all his other episodes, they're not hitting like that because we are fickle as fans, okay? A lot of people are going to lie to you. They're going to comment in the comment section and lie and embellish the truth like Joe Budden, okay? And they're going to say this, that, and the third. They're going to say all the right things. I've heard this in the comment sections. I've heard this on these social media streets. People be tweeting, getting at me, talking about, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I'm not like this. Oh, I'm not like that. But your actions are your words, okay? I don't care about what people tell me in the comment sections or on social media, all right? Your actions are your real truth, not your words. Your words are not your truth. Your actions are your real truth, okay? And I've been a veteran of this, and I know what people do, all right? We are fickle as fans. Once we get our entertainment, guess what we do? We move on to the next big story, the next big thing, okay? And in the process of doing that, we're not focusing a lot of time on this content provider when that content provider goes on to anything. This is a classic example. You can just check out my own channel, all right? Check my own channel out. When I do other topics, they don't hit like these, like this topic, okay? I have other videos in the past when I tell you guys my opinion about other things. But when I want to do just life things, or when I want to do about stuff that's not glamorized or, it's not famous, I'm not talking about sports or entertainment or music or anything like that. When I'm talking about other things, you guys don't come in for those other things. You guys come in when you want to hear my opinion or you want to hear news about stuff like this. It's just facts, okay? It's just pure facts. Anyone who argues that is delusional. They're just lying to themselves, or they're just embellishing the truth, okay? It's pretty much like what Joe Budden do. We're all human. We're all creatures at fault. All right. And we all do these things. But I wish Mal and Rory nothing but the best. I hope, they can. Well, first of all, if I was them, I would get an understanding with Joe Budden. Look, obviously you fired Rory. You don't want Rory back. Obviously, I don't want to come back. If I think Mal and Joe Budden's going to have this conversation. And sometimes they're going to exercise an option where, Joe Budden let them out of their contract. but there's going to be a whole lot of stipulations. Okay? Don't just think Joe Budden's going to do it out of the kindness of his heart. Okay? There's going to be stipulations to releasing them out of their contract so they can just go ahead and get their podcast on and popping. All right? And I'm telling you guys, that first episode, everybody's going to gravitate to it. Everybody's going to be telling them on social media, oh, I'm going to support it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to donate to you guys. I used to be a long-time subscriber of Joe Budden. And you know what's going to happen? That first episode, it's going to blow up. Everybody's going to be on there, including myself, including Wall. All right? And then guess what? After they talk about other things, those other things are not going to matter to a lot of people. And they're just going to move on. They're just going to move on. That's how we are. And that's how we are. We simply move on, okay, until the next big breakup. We're nosy to an extent, okay? We're the people, and that's what fans are. They're creating a traffic jam to see the car accident in the other lane. Instead of just going on with your day, you just want to slow down to see what's going on with that car wreck, okay? Meanwhile, you're causing a traffic jam for other people in the back that really don't give two dead flies what happened, okay? They just want to get on with their day. They just want to go home, okay? They worked hard. They done had a long work day. They done had a long day in general, and they want to just move on. All right, but there's a majority of us that will slow down and watch the car wreck, and we ooh and ah, and then once we get enough entertainment out of that, or enough processing, or enough being nosy about it, then we move on. All right. Meanwhile, people in the back are trying to move on. All right. So that's what life is in detail. Like I said, I hope Rory and Mal, wishing them nothing but the best when they do their own podcast. I hope they hit those numbers, and I hope they keep those numbers. At the end of the day, Joe Budden fans are mad at Joe Budden. He's getting a lot of backlash from his own fan base. And you know what's going to happen after a couple of episodes of Ice and Ish? Fans are going to do what they typically do. And it was proven and documented. When Ice and Ish took over for Rory and Mal, you had this whole backlash. You had a lot of people talking a lot of ish, okay? And then guess what? After a couple of weeks, it went away. Those people who had issues with Ice and Ish replacing Rory and Mal, they continue to watch. They continue to support. They continue to donate. All right, because at the end of the day, it's just entertainment to a lot of you people out there. At the end of the day, it doesn't neglect your life. You're not going to stop your whole life because Joe Budden podcast done broken up. All good things come to an end. All good things come to an end. And you can sit up here and you can be in a delusional state of mind and say this, that, and the third. You can have these beliefs. It's okay to have these beliefs. It's okay to comment. It's okay to have if you have favorites. Okay, it's all that's okay. But at the end of the day, you have to look at it for what it is. That's what it is. It was simply, and I don't want to go back into what I said in this video. Look, Rory and Mal, you have to do better. You have to do better. This can be treated as you can take this as a learning experience for all of us. All of us can learn something from this. Don't sign nothing just because, oh, that's my friend. That's my pal. They'll never do me wrong. If they have lawyers, shouldn't you have lawyers? All right. And if they have agents, shouldn't you have agents? If they have management, shouldn't you have management? All right. And like I said, someone said, well, Mal's manager happens to be his brother, okay? And that's fine and all. If you want to keep it in the family and Mal wants to, I'm sorry about this noise in the background. If Mal wants to keep it in the family and let his brother be his manager, that's cool. That's your decision, though. But if your manager leads you in the wrong direction, because obviously your manager didn't have no problems with you signing that contract. Obviously your manager gave you the advice of not having a lawyer present. Okay? So, like I said, that example just proves that you shouldn't be mixing business with your friends and family. That's a clear example of you shouldn't be doing that. You should have, and if you are going to mix business with your family and friends, you better make damn sure that your families and friends are knowledgeable enough, experienced enough to lead you in the right way that's going to fight for you. Obviously, when they signed these, and then maybe, who knows, they probably signed these contracts and, you know, Mall's management was not aware of it, okay? And Rory, he's been in this industry, okay? He's been in this industry. And you mean to tell me you're not smart enough to allow your lawyer and it go, and I keep telling you guys this, you guys don't want to believe me, and that's fine. That's okay. Live your own truth. Live your truth. Don't live in reality. Just live your truth, all right? And I keep telling you guys this. The moves that they were making didn't make a lot of sense, okay? But that goes to show you, when you make moves based on your feelings, on your emotion, you're going to get screwed 1,000 times out of 100. I mean, out of 100 times, you're going to get screwed 100 times. You're never going to make the right move or the right decision based on how you feel emotionally. Okay, that's my pal. That's my friend. They would never screw me like that. Okay, if you keep believing that, keep putting your hand on the stove and keep thinking that stove is not hot, because you're going to get burned every single time. So everyone should learn from this. Everyone should learn from their mistakes. And I hope that they're learning from their mistakes. So that's all I got for today. Sorry for this video to be extremely long, but I had a lot to say. I covered the mall topic, the mall news. I gave you guys and shared you guys my opinion. And I hate to say this. But I kept telling you guys from day one. I saw this a mile away. I kept telling people this. Day one, right after the episode of why he didn't take the Spotify deal. I kept telling people that, and people didn't want to believe me. People kept saying, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about," this, that. And I hate to say this, I hate to beat a dead horse, but I was right. At the end of the day, I was right. Okay? And just because I'm right, it doesn't make this situation any better. Okay? So that's all I got to say on this. If any more Joe Budden news come up, of course, you know I'm going to talk about it. You know I'm going to cover it, right? Hopefully that they get their podcast. Hopefully we'll hear something from them very, very soon, and we're going to talk about it. All right, it's your boy. I'm about here. Deuces.